You are not a sheep. You're a wolf.
All right, everybody. So here we are with Rosie Itti, owner-operator of Closet Space. So one of the things that she said that she was having trouble with was figuring out her monthly expenses versus her monthly gross and therefore her net. So tell me about that a little bit.
So basically, some challenges that I was having was really just seeing once the income was coming in and how much I was selling was how to diversify all of those funds back into the business, and also taking it in as profit and how to pay myself essentially, because with the truck it was just a little bit more sporadic. It was more of a side thing, whereas now having the store, I really do need to be having some sort of consistent formula to track where all the sales are going in.
So basically, how to reinvest your net.
Correct.
Profit.
Yeah,
Okay.
Definitely. And then just to be able to physically see where everything is going and if, how my business is succeeding or where I can cut things out.
Right. So one of the things we want to do is first figure out all of her expenses and figure out how much she has to sell just for her business to survive, and then figure out based on, what kind of lifestyle she wants to live, how much she wants to pay herself, and that'll help her figure out what, the total amount is that she needs to net every month, and therefore what she needs to gross. So let's take a look at that for a second.
So the business model I'm going to give you is pretty general, but the purpose of looking at this type of business model is to help you figure out your monthly sales goal and what you need to gross and net in order to keep your business sustainable, how to reinvest your money back into your business, break even with your expenses, and pay yourself so that you can survive. Every single business is very different, but I like to think about expenses broken down into basically two separate categories. Hard costs that involve overhead and monthly expenses as well as payroll, and then the costs of reinvesting your net income back into your business. A good general rule to go by when reinvesting your money into your business is to invest in assets that make you money, which for most businesses include their inventory and marketing materials, which is actually influencing sales. What I really like about looking at your business this way is that it becomes very simple to see how your gross and net profit work for you. Usually, your expenses will end up being your payroll and overhead, so at the end of the month, everything you gross usually first goes towards that. Then all your net left over can go towards your inventory and marketing materials to influence sales for the next month. I like to think about putting equal energy in each aspect of the business model. That means a quarter of your gross goes to your overhead or monthly expenses, a quarter of it goes to your inventory, a quarter of it goes to your marketing, and a quarter of it goes to your payroll. But again, every single business is different. For a retail business like Rosie Itti's Closet Space, you might have expenses like rent, electricity, internet, web services, accounting, or maybe some licenses or fees. For Rosie's brick and mortar store, her overhead monthly costs total to about $1,540. And now for inventory costs. Every business's margins or markup costs are different, but for Rosie, she goes on buying trips maybe once a season, but she generally spends about $500 a month on her inventory, which includes any travel or shipping costs. And for marketing costs, every business's marketing materials, marketing channels, marketing expenses are all different as well. But for Rosie, her marketing expenses are very, very cheap because she utilizes free online web tools to influence her sales, like social networking. She only spends about $65 a month on her marketing. And finally, payroll. Every business has different payroll strategy and different pay rates for their employees. But for a self-employed professional like Rosie, she only needs to pay herself. So in order to find out how much she needs to pay herself, she needs to add up all of her personal monthly expenses, like phone, rent, utilities, groceries, fun stuff, savings if she wants to put away for taxes or a retirement or a house, student loans, and based on the kind of lifestyle that she wants to live here in Port Townsend, she wants to pay herself about $2,000 a month. Now to figure out how much she needs to make in order to break even with all of her monthly expenses, we simply add up her overhead costs, her inventory costs, and her marketing costs to find out that she needs to sell about $2,100 worth of merchandise to break even, But let's not forget taxes, which are about 10%. So marking that up means that she needs to sell about $2,300 a month to break even every single month. Then based on how much she wants to pay herself, which is $2,000 a month, we can add those up and figure out that she needs to sell $4,300 a month to run her business and to survive. I love numbers, but I know that most people don't. But I've found that it's really helpful to look at things visually. So I would suggest hiring a bookkeeper to keep track of all the numbers so that your head doesn't hurt trying to figure it out.
So, how was this able to help you with your business model?
What really helped me was being able to see it all mapped out visually. Being able to take a look at all the different expenses that I do have, and sort of seeing it categorized appropriately. Also, at the, for the end results, being able to see that after all my overhead and all of my expenses, and after being able to pay myself a wage, that there is profit, there is something coming in. And also being able to see that, this being sort of based off of winter sales, how the summer would be for me also. And I think the biggest thing was just being able to clearly see all of this down, because like I said, it's all in my head, that's kind of where I was going with it all. But it was really helpful being able to have your input on the formula of how to break it all down and how to see it, go back and invest itself into, future sales or inventory or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the rule of thumb that I like to go by is you want to invest in assets that make you money. And in a retail business like this, that means your marketing materials, because that's what's actually influencing your sales, and your inventory itself, because that's what is making you money. So I hope you guys got some value from that too.
I don't. I can't.